tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I don't know. I always want to like dance to it.
I'm always like,
all right.
I was waiting for the drop and just like
epic.
It's so good.
It's exciting.
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome guys to another Shannara Chronicles after show, and we have the recap for Changeling, which is episode 4 today. Please be sure to follow us on AFTERBUZZ TV and follow me at MGCVSST on Twitter and Instagram. My name's Maria, and I'm joined, actually, we're missing one of our OGs. We're missing Heather G today, but
she'll be back.
She'll be back. But joining me is the lovely Kari Lane, so give it a shout out.
Hi, my name is Kari Lane, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Kari D Lane, and Facebook Kari Lane Actor.
And as usual, I'm going to tell you guys the same thing. Please comment on YouTube because we read those comments.
Thanks for all those comments.
And totally thank you so much for all those comments.
And Twitter. We've been getting good replies on Twitter, guys. Thank you.
Anything. I mean, we love hearing what you guys think about our after show, but also about the actual show. So,
or if you notice things, we had a good wardrobe one pointed out with a photo. Thanks for that. That was helpful.
Totally. I completely agree. Anything you guys want, but we love to read them. We try to answer back as much as we can. So yeah, just keep it coming because we love it. But so let's get right into it.
Dive right in. Yes.
All right. So this episode is jam-packed with stuff. But first of all, we have Amberle's trial inside the Elcrysal.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, funny thing with that. I just wanted to say, when I was watching this, I mean, I know she knows she's going in a tree. If I was going in there, I'd be like, well, I don't expect to find people. And especially if you see people that you know are dead, I think I'd still have this, it's not you. I mean, yes, you would have that moment. You would struggle. I wish there was a hair more struggle with her of like, but no, you're not alive. How could you possibly be alive? But you are attacking me, so I am being defense, like, you know, responsive. So that was a little bit like, come on, girl.
Yeah, I mean, you know that it's going to be something like that. I mean, I would be like, oh, Will's outside. It's okay. You know, Lauren's clearly dead. Like, and it's okay.
Will in the tree talks in a funny, deep voice and finally has his hair in a ponytail.
See, I was going to tell you the same thing. I was like, maybe his hair was getting in the way, so they were like, all right, let's just, like, pin it back or something.
It's bad Will.
Yeah, it's bad Will. It literally, okay, sometimes I am watching this show and I'm like, this is Legend of Zelda, like, you know, Ocarina of Time. First of all, there's, like, this little flower that spits into her face, which kind of remind me of some of the little flowers that chomp at you.
Waiting for it to bite her.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of reminded me of that. But also, there's Shadow Link in the Water Temple, and I was like, wow, Will is reminding me so much of that Dark Link, you know, the Shadow Link, and it's the same outfit, just all in black. I really liked it. The deep voice threw me off.
Oh, it was a little weird.
But I eventually, I was just like, I'm all in. It's kind of interesting. She sees just this barren, like, well, it's not really barren. I mean, it's full of destruction.
That's the other thing, too. It's like, I would be like, wow, there's a magical portal. It's like Chronicles of Narnia. It's like I walk through the tree and I'm in a brand new place. She needed a moment where she's like, wait a minute. No, hold on. You know. But, I mean, she has had the vision, so those maybe are throwing her off of like, wait, what is real and
what
stuff
isn't.
Like that.
Yeah. I think, I mean, they're just really, it was going to be a really hard test, and whether she passes, that's where she gets the seed. But I think it was testing her in the things that I guess she's weakest in, and I think now we can understand that maybe like Will, she's starting to really get some good feelings for him. So there was just going to be a lot of testing, especially, and she has to like kill him. And it made me so sad. I was looking at his face; his eyes were all red, and I was like, "No,
but he had a point. Like, this is the mission. Like, it is one of those like, girl, drop all your feelings. This is your job. The one thing you gotta do." And the tree's kind of like, "Excuse me, one thing. You just have one job.
You have a mission, girl. Like, forget about the boys, forget about everything." Which I think is super cool because I think when you do let all those feelings get in the way, you're gonna compromise the mission or the quest. So I mean, yeah, she just got to do what she's got to do.
Grow up, girl.
Yeah. But when she succeeds with stabbing Will...
Wait to hook up till after.
Wait to what? Hook up after
the mission.
After the mission.
Let's wait till after the mission.
Yeah.
Okay? Wait till after.
We'll get to that later, but it seems like she was feeling some sort of jellies, all over.
Little bit.
But so once she succeeds in stabbing Will, she succeeds in a way in her mission, and she gets that little seed pod thingy.
Yes.
That seed is the most beautiful seed I've ever seen in my life, by the way. It is like
beautiful.
It's like completely carved out of silver.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like some kind of metal work or something like that.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. But it also, I think, mimics like how beautiful the Elcrysal is.
Yeah.
So so that was very nice. And once she exits the thing, who do we have waiting? We have the Changeling. The Changeling saw everything. He's one of the Black Guards.
Yeah. So this episode was appropriately titled "The Changeling" because it's all about the Changeling.
It's all about the Changeling, and that's when I was like, okay, things are gonna get like seriously compromised. And almost like immediately after, they start making arrangements, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the one thing that I was kind of surprised is like, the Changeling's really struggling to cloak him
I
or
did
herself.
like that line. Yeah, I'm taking all my power just to disguise myself.
Yeah, so it just shows, I think, like how powerful Al-Anon is.
Yes. But I like that we got to see the Changeling, like the naked lady form again, because that looks cool. That like white dreads and the white body paint.
It's so awesome.
It just looks cool.
Yeah, and I guess it has like a strange way of communicating with the Dagnamor.
Yeah.
Just like back and forth. But it just proves again how powerful Al-Anon and a druid would be.
And don't ask stupid questions to people who are standing around strangely. Because they're just going to kill you.
Wait. Oh, you mean the guy who's like, what are you? I was like...
Don't ask dumb questions. Just be like, that's weird. I'm going to go tell somebody about it.
Yeah, it's more like if you see something...
Yeah, you should
like,
say something. Yeah.
Hold up and let me go tell the appropriate people instead of being like, I'm just going to ask this dangerous creature who's clearly having like an inner head moment with silver eyes or whatever. I was like, probably not the right choice, dude.
No.
Probably not the right choice.
Well.
But, so the Changeling ends up killing Went.
Aw.
I know. I felt bad for that.
At least he got a name.
He did have a name. He did have a name. Although, let me say, that was really graphic.
Oh, yeah. The
sword.
special effects and through the mouth. Yeah.
That was so graphic. I'm like,
it was very sudden, too. You're just like, oh, well, wait, okay. That happened.
Yep.
Yes.
It's like, okay, we actually went through one of these deaths and made it real gory and special. But then we start hearing a little bit about the safe hold, So where is this place? And she in her vision during the trial, she sees like this kind of dripping heart thing.
The stained glass window. Yeah.
The stained glass window. So I guess that's where the blood fire is. It's in the safe hold.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's still kind of like a question mark about where the safe hold thing is.
Yeah. Darn, they don't have maps with proper instructions.
No, and I mean, it's just
that'd be too easy.
It would be too easy. Like, I don't need a map. I don't need a codex that tells me like everything.
Will's like, are you okay? She's like, well, I don't know where I'm going, and I almost died. It's like,
okay.
And that moment too, I like that he's like, you can tell me what's going on. She should have said, that is one of those, just lay your cards on the table. She should have said, hey, I had a vision. You were in it. She didn't need to go into detail. She could be like, bad stuff happened, so I'm a little weird right now. Just give me some time. Oh, wait, that easy.
She seemed very distant. I was like...
And guess what? That just makes him ask more questions.
I know. And I love how he says, what does he say? He's like, it's okay, I can just annoy them or whatever. And I'm like, oh, perfect, Will. It was very cute.
Boom.
Yeah, it's very cute. He's very, he just makes it a little bit lighter because right now the quest is getting like super heavy and just everything is resting on Amberle's shoulders. So I really enjoy that he has these kind of light moments all the time. It also, I'm so impressed with Amberle's artistic skill.
Yeah, how convenient. She's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Because earlier with the demon too, she good thing she can't just draw stick figures. It's like, oh, I know exactly what that is.
I just can imagine it's like a little circle with like some like maybe things dripping off. It's like, this is what it looked like. And they're like, girl, we don't get to it.
Yeah.
I mean, can you try a little harder?
Yeah.
So it's just
well,
very
she's an elf
convenient.
princess, so she's probably trained in like everything.
Yeah, so they can horseback
She had her
ride.
art classes of horseback riding.
Yes, some sort of harp.
Yeah, I was just like, I just had that image too. Like, Something.
I had to.
Some string instrument.
Some string instrument. Them sitting like and looking off into the beautiful distance of like Arbalon, and they're beautiful. But I love it because it's just like well, that's what I'm saying. That's successful, right? Because we know that about that. It's like it makes sense. Like that's what we think when we think about them. So. Anyway, we have, I'm like, so. Moving on. So we kind of have somewhat of an idea of like the safe hold thing, but then they talk about this guy named Rin Katzin. If I'm hoping I got that right, I wrote it down.
We don't know who that is exactly.
All we hear is Ander say about how he's an elf, and when he was young, he would tell him and his two brothers about a place and beyond
the other world,
the Wilderrun, and the older world.
Old world, thank you.
Yeah, in the old world. So we've got a distant land, clearly. But this guy lives in Draywood, and so they've summoned him, and it looks like he's 2 days away?
Yes.
Or something like that, or they're going to meet him in Draywood or something like that. But so we have kind of like a path to our story. But we will revisit that later, because there's not too much yet. That's just kind of like where we're going.
There's a lot of other things that went on.
Yes. But then, so leaving the elves for like a second, then we have Cephalo. How awful is that man? Does he not like creep you out insanely?
It's weird because, you're just like, I want to smack you. I just want this character to go away. But, oh well.
But he has to be there.
Of course.
But he has to be there. And I feel so bad for Eretria because she
needs to just leave him. And it's so hard because like he was such a nicer character on Dexter. So I'm like, I can't look at you as a bad guy. I'm like, he's such a jerk.
He's
so slimy in this.
He's slimy. That is like the perfect word for it.
You're just like,
Yeah, I totally feel when I look at him. And on top of that, he's like so creepy. He's like, he threatens Eretria all the time. And it's really disappointing. It kind of disappoints me that she's such a strong character, and at the same time she like hasn't left him yet.
She's total mental prisoner.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I kind of hoped when she talked to Will of like, I want to help escape. I was like, I don't trust you, but maybe that could be true. I don't trust you, maybe, and then you're like, I knew I shouldn't trust you.
Dude, I had the same reaction. I was like, okay, maybe this is true, because I would want to leave Cephalo for sure. So I feel like that makes sense. I'm like, okay, she's
could have
really
been your
sneaky.
out.
Yes, she's so sneaky, but that could have been the out. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. This makes sense, right? But we'll retouch on that
jumping to the end too. Like she has this opportunity to leave him. I know she doesn't really want to help Amberle on the quest and everything, but I'd be like, well, I'm not stuck with annoying dad for a while. Sure, I'll do it.
Like, I guess she just wants to be like alone.
Yeah.
I guess
she doesn't want anyone in charge.
No, she doesn't want anyone in charge. She wants to be in charge with totally girl power. I'm like on your side, but I do think that like if you get a break from Cephalo, breathing down your neck,
she needs to leave on her own,
and sliming his tongue all over your neck. I'm good. Like I don't need that stuff at all. So, but we'll pick up in a little bit because she has a little moment with Will, which is so fun.
Oh,
but okay. So then, so here's the thing. So there's like a moment right there between Catania and Amberle, and like where one of the chosen is lying dead, I guess.
Why doesn't her handmaiden go with her?
I don't know. That was a strange scene for me.
Because, that scene was weird, and then I just don't understand, because I feel like this handmaiden kind of person, your assistant, should be with you at all times.
Although, do you really think that she'd stand a chance maybe out there?
Not necessarily, but your duty is to protect the princess, and her staying at home, she's not doing her job.
No.
So, I wish there's maybe something a little bit like, I should go with you, be like, no, stay here, you're not ready for the outside world.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that, but
it was more like,
oh well, we'll just pretend that she's a city girl. She's not ready for the country.
She's not ready for the country life, country living. But I think Amberle tells her like, I'll be back. And every time Amberle has said I'll be back in this episode, I'm like, I don't know, will she?
It's like, don't say that. It's like a horror movie. Never say you'll be back.
Yeah, or exactly. You stay right here. I'll be right back. And it's like you're so not coming back.
Yeah, don't say that.
But I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it's totally possible. But she says it a couple times through the episode, and I'm like, girl, gotta stop, planting this. Otherwise, you're going to jinx it, and it's just not going to happen.
Yep.
But then, so they actually, I think it's Commander Tilton that comes in and says they found Went dead in the sanctuary. So there's like a situation.
Actually, she came in, I thought she might have been the Changeling, too.
Really? Really?
Well, just because Okay, that was the big problem with this episode. They know it's a Changeling. They know it changes form. But it takes them forever to go, oh wait, it could be anyone.
Once they figure out that once they figure out that it was a changeling, I had the same thing. I'm like, okay, guys, you guys are having all these conversations in the open. How are you guys not being more careful?
Because you could be someone.
Yeah, the changeling could be anybody.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would be so much more aware. You know, I'd be like, okay, well, but then who do you trust, right? It's
Nobody.
Like,
yeah.
You can't really do anything like that.
And then in front of the guards too, they're like, we can't talk about this in front of anybody. I'm like, okay. Let's take for granted you're not going to assume your own people are the thing, but the guards, they should have had like a, okay, we're going to do this.
Okay, and then we're going to do
and we're going to, okay, whisper.
Yeah, there was just no self-awareness, I guess, in those moments. But I mean, at the same time, I think...
But they're not used to the magic and the demons, so they're taking it for granted.
Totally, this magic is very new. And they actually, for at least the beginning part of the episode, they actually don't know about that changeling. They're just kind of think that there's a murderer, running around. So, but then they figure it out. Well, kind of, because Al-Anon always to the rescue.
Of course.
But so then we have also this really cool scene between Bandon and Will, where Bandon, actually ends up telling Will about his power, his gift, his little gift.
And he's like, it's not a gift.
It's more like a curse. But you know what I found really interesting is that it's not just that he can see specific. He can see something very specific. He actually sees. He's a seer, so he sees people's deaths.
I thought it was cool to touch the dead body too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was crazy. I mean, that was just the best idea. I think Will is the one who comes up with it. I thought that was such a great idea to be like, okay, well, let's figure out what this is.
And knowing the someone's death though, but then they just proved you can change it.
Yes. Okay.
It was a mix of it's semi-Macbethian because he tells you what's going to go. He tells the Amberle's assistant, I blanked on her name. Catania. He tells Catania, hey, don't go here. Guess what she does? She goes exactly there. So it's like, you know what? If you hadn't told her,
but dude,
it wouldn't happen.
Exactly. She wouldn't have gone that way. She would have kept on her path, first of all. But second of all, let's be real. She doesn't know who this guy is. And
I know, but he shouldn't tell her.
No, but he probably just freaked her out, so she runs. I mean, but she literally runs exactly where she's supposed to be.
The whole thing of it is so like Macbeth of here, this is exactly what's going to happen, and what you do totally directly makes it happen. So it's just
yeah.
But then I would hope he would go, hey, I hope this moment makes him go, I can change it, because he saw her death and he stopped it.
I mean, there's going to be a way that he can use this power to his advantage. I mean,
sure.
And maybe he doesn't really know how to change it in other than just telling them what's going to happen. Don't go there. But clearly, so they end up changing that outcome, I guess.
At least Al-Anon kind of calms him down of no, it's a gift. It's a good gift. It's powerful. It's dangerous, but it's a powerful gift.
Yeah, absolutely. But all in between that myths, then we have so going back to the Cephalo thing. So Cephalo, he tells Eretria that she can earn her freedom if she gets back the Elf Stones.
Right. I don't believe him.
I don't know. He's incredibly creepy. I just like you said, I think slimy is the best word to describe him. But so she ends up climbing into the... She ends up climbing into the palace.
It's all right, girl. You totally do look like a badass, but that shot was a little funny.
It's just
I'm I think the ground's probably right there.
Yeah. It's nice. I'm just
it's okay.
I like it. They're working it.
No, she's cool.
They're making it work, and she is super badass. But she
assaults Will. Sorry.
No. I know.
Jumping ahead, but
no. I totally. Will is just hilarious. It's just so funny and so naive because we have a little moment between Will and Eretria because she follows him. I think she sees him, follows him into the room. Yeah. She's wearing a little elven cloak. And she, surprises
bow
him.
Bow wow.
Bow chicka bow wow. Although, here's where I'm at. It's I see Will getting a little bit better. You know, he's really... yeah.
Hold up.
He's hold up. You are, what's it called? You are not trustworthy.
Yeah.
You are, all sorts of wrong happening right here. You're not trustworthy. Yep. I need to get you out of here. He's give me a good reason. And she's Cephalo wants the stone. If not, he's going to kill me. And he's just I said, good reason.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I really didn't think that. Actually, let me rephrase. I thought that he was going to succumb right away. Turns out it takes him a little bit
of time to could resist a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, she worked her feminine charms and he didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, she totally seduced him. And I actually, at one point, like we were talking about earlier, I thought that she was really going to be hey, I don't want to be in this. Me too. Because, I mean, it in a way it is, but it's through the Elfstones, not through saying with, like, Will or whatever. Because she could have stayed there, and I guess Cephalo would have been like, oh, too bad.
But she did have a tender moment of I'm not gonna call you short tips anymore.
Yes.
When she left.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, I think she does have some real feelings for him, not just messing with him the whole time.
Yeah, and I feel like she's probably been hurt many times given the kind of life that she's lived and everything. So I feel like even that little moment of saying, I'm just not going to call you short tips anymore is kind of like, it's very small, but for her it's like a really big thing.
Of course, it's when he's asleep with that big old smile on his face.
He totally has a huge smile on his face.
And that blanket conveniently covering body parts, but showing other parts.
I mean, it's still, you know.
Because that's how we all sleep, right? You know, the towel.
You don't do
the
that?
blanket. Oh, yeah. You know, it's just like the movies. You know, it just covers right when you need to.
Strategic covering. Although that's how I sleep, so I don't know what's so weird about that. So, but yeah. So,
I'm cold. My covers are up here.
No, I'm totally kidding. I literally sleep with, like, I cover all the way up to here.
Like sleeping bag, you're like,
dude,
hi, what's up?
I'm a little, like, you know, it's like a little burrito status. Yeah. I'm totally, like, all wrapped up. So no strategic placing for me, just, you know, cover it all. But then she leaves.
Yep.
As you know, what is it? Amberle and Al-Anon are having this
her
moment.
line, though. Okay, can we go back to her line? She's like,
which one? It's like, wait, so
you're such a guy.
but wait, that's after. But yeah, she tells him that. She's like, you're just such a guy.
What's when he? Oh yeah, it is later.
Yeah.
But I felt that is one of those ones where in this world to say guy is a little weird because I remember somebody's comment where they're like on YouTube, I think, and they're like, God, they use a guy, and normally guy doesn't bother me, but that moment was a little bit like, you could have said you're such a man. You know, that's such a man thing to do.
Would dude have worked for you?
No,
I'm kidding.
No, dude would be like, oh, you're such a dude.
You're such a dude.
Or just jump to that's so typical or something like that. It's what I would expect. But it was kind of a funny line.
Yeah, guy is a very...
But I like that he's like, whoa, hold up. Called her out on it.
Yeah, because I didn't really see Will doing much other than like, okay, well, it happened, fine, I'll like get on board. But she totally seduced him. So I was like, girl, I think we're not really on the same page here. No. But, you know, Amberle all of a sudden is like, you know, Al-Anon says that Will and Al-Anon are there to protect her. And she's like, oh, by the way, where is Will? You know? Yeah. And I was like, how convenient. Yeah. Exactly. I thought the same thing. I was like, how convenient, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so they, I guess, go look for him, I would assume. But then they get intercepted by Eretria as Will is enjoying his peaceful sleep.
Yes.
And she's you know, still cloaked and stuff, but Amberle does get a little glimpse of her. Mm-hmm. So I actually love this next scene because the Changeling is heading, I think, to kill Amberle, and she sees he or she, the Changeling sees it sees that Amberle calls Eretria and says like, stop that rover. And as Eretria's like, you know, cutting the corner or whatever, the Changeling stops and all of a sudden is Eretria.
It was very smart planning on its part.
It looks, it's smart planning on the Changeling, but also I just love how it's shot. I think it's just it's a little like, I think it's well executed. I don't know.
And then when it pops out of it and goes back into guard form, that was cool too, because it's like, no, wasn't me.
Yeah, nope, sorry, just reassume my position, and there we go. Mm-hmm. It was super cool. I totally loved how that scene worked out. But so Eretria is not really like there for a second. It's the Changeling, and then we have Catania, like, you know.
Catania totally looked like Elsa, by the way, with her braids.
Oh yeah,
and her outfit.
Yeah. I really like some of the hair that they have on this show. But yeah, totally, she kind of like has
a little
that
bit of
vibe.
Elsa going on.
Yeah, let it go. So I found it interesting. Now going back to the whole like you can actually change the death outcome, right? So Bandon does that.
Yeah.
And
finally.
Kind of like proves a little bit, I guess, of his worth.
Yeah. So he's not just I'm going to cower and not touch anybody. But I like that Will brings that up, too. He's like, does something happen when you touch people? Because remember last episode we were talking about how he avoided Will or Will touched him. He touched Will, like that discussion.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no. He's very full aware that if he bumps you. So he's like, I'm going to just walk like this.
Yeah. I'm just going to
Do we know if it's skin? It seems to be skin. Like, it's skin-on-skin touch. He needs to be like Rogue and, like, have all his skin covered then.
I guess.
Or is it, like, shoulder bump, too?
I'm not sure. I think he just bumped into Catania, so...
True.
So I would imagine it's just kind of like any type of touching. That would even make it worse, because that's literally, like, there's no way to avoid that.
Yeah, he'd want, like, a bubble around him.
Yeah, you'd totally want, like, a little Bandon bubble. Mm-hmm. How unfortunate. I feel like I would not want that power at all. I don't want to see how anybody dies.
I want to know if it happens the second time though too. Like if you touch them, sees the vision, would the second time you touch them, would he see the same thing, or would it be like neutralized because you've already seen it?
Wait, you mean so like before anything happens?
No, like so he touched Catania. If he touched her again right after, would he see another vision, or would it be like a normal touch? They haven't had enough time to explore that, but that'd be interesting. Of like, is it you touch it, you see the vision, and then touch again? Do you see another vision, different one, continuation, or none at all because you've already seen it? So now it's like, well, you've played it, so now it's just back to normal.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I think I would experiment with that if I had that. Be like, hold on, let's see.
Let's see. Let me do one.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, because then at one point they're like, Catania's on the floor and like, or Amberle's they're just all like all over the place. So it's like, and then he's touching the Changeling, and it's just like, so I think, and so that gets a little murky. But I would like to know that too. I don't know exactly how that works.
Yep.
And I would wonder like if you can just kind of keep seeing their deaths. Like let's say, okay,
would it be like a repeat? Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you happen to intercept one, can you see like the newer one?
Yeah.
So is it always like that? And if that ever fails, I mean, it doesn't seem like it does yet, just yet.
Yeah, is it ever wrong?
Yeah.
Well, because time's always changing. So it's one of those too, like I think he should come to that understanding of like, it's not set in stone because things are always changing. Especially again, if you tell the person, it's going to change too.
Yeah. And I feel like just going back to Catania's death, it's just like he bumps her and he's just like, you're going to die. Don't go that way, or what he says to her.
That's so horrible.
I mean, if she would have been like, okay, dude, get lost, like that would have been like it wouldn't have happened. So it's almost like he was played a little bit of a part in it.
True.
I know that's not the same situation when he touches like Lauren, but in this sense, it almost like he was like, played a little part in it. So then... they end up catching Eretria once the Changeling kind of goes back to the black guard form, and she's almost out the window. Almost out the window. And it's kind of funny how like I thought it was so funny that the way he recognized her though was the boots.
Girl, your shoes
aren't elven enough for us. Sorry, you can't sit with us. Like,
ouch.
I know. It was just like, how is that the thing that you realize? I mean, I would have probably.
But it's true, different kind of shoes.
Yeah. Maybe it's just something very specific of the way that they are and like what they do for a
living.
Like
she's wearing leather and they wear a different material.
Yeah, exactly.
Style.
So she almost gets out, but she ends up kicking Ander's butt. But Commander Tilton, on the other hand, socked her. Like, knocked her right out kind of thing.
Don't hit my man.
Do not hit my man. Which I thought was like awesome because Commander Tilton's super, super cool.
She's Banff.
She's totally Banff. And then we have... kind of like she goes in front of Eventine. Eventine. Oh wow, I think it's Eventine. Yeah, Eventine. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was reading the books before I got like any knowing of like how to say these things. But so yeah, then they go in front of Eventine. There we go. Eventine. So it's kind of and they kind of blame her for attempting murder on Amberle. Amberle's very like set on this is my murderer.
Yeah, her behavior in this whole segment was just like, you really are being a immature child.
Yeah.
And after, like, later on, it's just like, okay, she needs to remember that vision of the tree, keep your emotions in check, and do your mission. Like, it's fine for her to be upset. And she is jealous that they hooked up, Will and Eritrea hooked up. But she should have a moment where she goes like, ooh, I'm upset with this. Okay, focus. I have a bigger mission. I have a bigger thing I need to do. Move forward.
Yeah, I think
I'm like, girl, you're so immature right now.
Well, it would be just so much easier, I feel like, to accept and just like deal with whatever she's feeling and then kind of move on.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't know about the Changeling just yet so far in the episode. So
specifics on it. They knew one was there.
No, because they hadn't seen Bandon hadn't seen Lauren's death just yet. They knew that there was a murderer.
But they knew there was a Changeling from a while ago. Because it was before the dog, like when it went into the dog shape. They knew there was something, a spy.
Well, they knew that there was something like in Arborlawn, inside the palace,
just didn't
probably.
Know specifics.
Yeah, they didn't know specifics. Right. So of course they think like, okay, well, she thinks like, okay, she attempted to murder me and whatnot. Yeah. And Eventine is all on board being like, okay, you're going to be, tried in front of the Elven Court, whatnot. But they send her as, to the cell, to to the elven prison.
The dungeon?
Yeah, to the dunge. And then I really liked one of the following scenes actually, which was between Eventide and Amberle when he presents her with her dad's sword.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it felt very Lord of the Rings to me, but I really liked it.
It was a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get their grandfather-daughter hug.
Yeah, which at one point I was like, oh, is this not going to happen? Is that going to be like one of those things that just doesn't happen between these two people? And I really liked it that they did hug. Because,
a little bit tender moment.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that was a thing that made me think about, okay, there's always mention about her father. They don't really talk about her mom.
No.
At all.
No, not.
And that's kind of weird because it's like, okay, your father was so amazing. Your father this, your father that, father that. Where's her mom? I'm assuming her mom died. But how did her mom die? When did her mom die?
Yeah.
And all those details, it's just like, that's part of who she is as well, that she's in the caretaking of her grandfather and her uncles.
Yeah, and I actually, like, so far with what I read in the book, I remember them talking about her father dying and I think why. And now I was trying to, like, rack my brain before we started this, and I was like, nope, it's just not coming to me. So I was just like, I'll just wait for that one.
Well, it was Trolls.
Yeah, right. Was it the Trolls?
Well, I feel there's some misunderstanding of how he died, because the one uncle's like, I blame myself for it. And then the king's like, well, it was the Trolls. You had no control. But then I kind of wondered if the Trolls were sent there.
By?
The bad uncle.
Ooh, okay. So, Kari doesn't really like Arion.
Oh, I don't trust him one bit. No.
She does not.
No.
She does not trust him one bit. I mean, and in that scene.
Besides being a spoiled brat, do not trust him at all. I feel there's some more mastermind going on. Not that I think he's that smart, but I think he's trying to do scheming things.
Yeah, and I got the same kind of vibe because I was like, why would you want to push your dad to abdicate the throne? I mean, like, I get it, he could be old, he kind of like, it's time, whatever. But it was it almost seemed like he was really pushing for that. And I was like, you clearly want the throne. What is your deal?
And him trying to stop Amberle. He was doing it in the guise of, I'm trying to protect her. But I was like, no. You just don't want it to happen.
No, exactly. I totally agree with you. He gives me the bad vibes. I'm not a huge fan of Arion. But I like it. I like it that Eventide was like, no, you know what? Nobody. I love how he says that nobody deserves the crown. I don't know what you thought of that. What do you think that means?
It's a heavy responsibility, and it's a chore, not a, I deserve this. This is my right.
I won. Yeah, exactly. I won this.
Yeah, it's more just like, it actually is a bad thing, like to have that much responsibility and like power and taking care of people.
Yeah, it's more like you have to wear the crown, but it's not necessarily that anyone deserves it, or maybe that like he wouldn't even wish that kind of stuff on anybody because of the responsibility. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's I mean, clearly, so far, it seems like the responsibility is pretty heavy.
Just destroy the whole world.
Yeah, but
4 kingdoms.
Yeah, but then actually that kind of ties into one of my predictions, but we'll get to that later. Okay. So we have that really nice moment between Eventide and Amberle and the sword and the granddaughter
cool looking sword.
Yeah, it's a very cool looking sword, and it just.
Hopefully, she actually knows how to use it well.
Yeah, I mean,
she didn't fight so well in the tree.
In the tree, it was not looking great, Yeah. And okay, let me point this out now that you said the tree thing. She was holding it like she was holding it by the.
She grabbed the blade full, like wrapped her hand around.
On, right, but no blood. Yet when Will slashes her, there's blood. You noticed that too. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the problem is it's in her head, and so she sees it and feels it. It's one of those like it's just such a powerful vision. But I don't. But I would think she would like grab it, look at it, and go, "Wait, wait, I'm not bleeding."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of the play.
Totally noticed that.
You did. Maybe that's a little bit of the play about like, is this real? Is this not real? Maybe it's like you can do this, but then like when it slashes you, it's like, oh, it's like kind of saying like, hold on, we're not done yet.
It's what do you believe too?
Yeah, that's totally true. Okay, so then at some point, they kind of get into a conversation, Al-Anon, Will and Amberle, and I can't remember if Eventide's in the room at that point, but we figure out why Eretria was there, and it's not because she was there to murder, and they have this conversation right after she goes, they have this conversation, he's like, hold up, I need to talk to her for like 30 seconds. Tilton says, you got 30 seconds, and he's like, all right, homie, what is up? And they kind of get into this conversation, and she makes him realize a little bit, like, don't you think I would have killed her before if that's what I wanted to do? And I think that was a totally good point. I'm like,
she's there for the elf stones.
Bingo.
I meant
Kari.
that more ways than one. Sorry.
10 points to Gryffindor. No kidding. But yeah, she's there. Oh,
But yeah.
I see what you meant there. She's there for the elf stones.
Well, half elf stones, but
but stones nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I like that moment too because it's a good point. It's like I had plenty of time to kill her, plenty of time. Why would I come and why would I sneak in, risk my life more just to do it?
And then exactly, and risk
I like
the fact
that nobody goes, yeah, nobody gives her benefit of the doubt.
nobody's
They're
like,
nope.
oh hey, that's a good point.
Yeah,
but then that kind of sits in Will's head, so he's just like, okay, and then so when they're having this conversation about Eretria and whatnot. He's like, well, actually, like, let's talk about this. Maybe not. Maybe there's a way that we can find out about this murderer thing. And then he actually lies to Amberle, being like, oh, yes, I was assaulted. She assaulted me and then knocked me out.
That's one way to look at it. I love that line. That was a good line.
It was so funny. It was just so funny. I was just like, knocking you out. What does that mean?
And then Amberle's subtle eyes like, oh.
She's like, oh, wow, poor Will, And on top of that, when they go to the cell, she literally kind of like defends him. It's so funny. But
you attacked him.
You attacked him and like assaulted him and then tried to whatever. And she's like, oh, assaulted. Really? Yeah, we did that mutually for about an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was so sleek and so kind of like, shifty, but awesome. I'm like, you go, girl.
I liked her moment with that too.
It was very funny.
It was very good.
And then you also have that little moment of like Amberle being like, oh wait, she's like, wait, Eretria is like,
that
you two weren't
funny.
together. But then she's like,
no, we're not.
No, he's absolutely right. We're not. And I was like, but you wish you would.
You're all whoops.
Sorry. So good.
Over dirty seconds.
Yep, exactly. But then, so before they actually go to the cell, they're having that conversation between Al-Anon, Will, and Amberle, and it turns out that Will has an idea. He's like, why don't we use Bandon to see, and Al-Anon knowing the whole time that he had been, canoodling with the rover girl. But anyway, that's a whole
he's like, yeah, because you were sleeping with her.
And he's like, you can't do this mind reading thing.
Like, stop it.
I know. He's like, stop getting into my brain. But then they use Bandon to see the way that Lauren died. And it turns out that's when they figure out that it's the Changeling. Because he's like,
the Changeling's the murderer.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the murderer. So then that's when they're like, okay, well, we have a Changeling in our midst. So what do we do? And I'm like, guys, like...
Guess what? You talking right now, it could be right there.
Exactly. It could literally be anyone in the room, which kind of comes to, like, bite them in the butt later, because Will is the one who the Changeling ends up being.
But, like, Al-Anon had no hesitation with that.
No. I know, but that was so...
But the Changeling had the, I'm going to talk in deep, scary voice.
That exactly. It's like one moment where he's just like, I'm here for you. So it was, I think that
Al-Anon's like, thanks,
like,
that's all I needed.
That is my cue. I'm going to just turn around and snap your neck.
That was a cool way to kill him, too. He's like,
snap
bam.
your neck. Yeah. Which, like, they end up figuring out that it would have been somebody in the Black Guard and probably knew all about this because Commander Tilton comes in and says that there was a Black Guard dead by, I don't know where, for several days. But anyway, so let me go for it.
I just love also the moment of Eretria and Amberle switching clothes. Because they're exactly the same size. Of course.
Yeah, no.
Exactly the same size.
Eretria is not 5'2".
And their hair is exactly the same.
Yeah. But I mean...
Anyway.
I know, I just thought it was
with
kind of
like... With the covered hood, that worked, but when we saw later Amberle wearing Eretria's outfit, I was like... Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, to be honest, if you really think that's going to get through to a Changeling, like, good luck. I honestly, I was like, you guys, this isn't going to work.
Dumb plan.
Dumb plan. But then I love how Al-Anon, when, it's Will, and she lets him in, you pass the Black Guard, and Al-Anon just, like, snaps the neck, and done. And I was like, that can't be it. You can't just kill a Changeling like that. That's not...
Amberle had a look, too. Like, she felt really sad that possibly Will was dead.
Yeah.
Showed her true feelings.
I know. It's just masked and this whole, like, bravery and don't get my emotions mixed up and whatnot. But... So we kind of
Changelings, nope.
They're just not...
It's like vampires, whatever you do. Chop the head off, burn it, like...
You gotta
seal it, everything.
You gotta do more. Well, at that point, Al-Anon says the same thing, like, let's burn it, get the ashes in this little
magic jar,
this little urn. But that doesn't really...
Nah.
It doesn't really...
Why was that one dude by himself, too?
Oh, yeah, I just don't understand. I'm like, guys, have you learned nothing from these demons, from these furies? Do you just, like, is it really that magic was completely gone, that you guys are still not on board?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's like, let's at least have two. Buddy system.
Yeah.
We need two people.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I totally agree with you. I think there should be 2 people at all times.
Yes.
All the time. And then we kind of finish off this episode with Amberle and Eretria and Will. Al-Anon's not coming along, unfortunately, because he wasn't in her vision. Exactly. But that
was dumb too. Why don't you just go?
I know.
Just because the vision says it.
If I had to take anyone, it would be Al-Anon. But so they kind of finish off this episode. Yep. They finish off this episode with figuring out that the Changeling is actually not dead. However, we see them move towards, I believe, Dreywood with this kind of fellowship.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we leave off. And then Cephalo's coming for her.
Leading into predictions, I had a moment where I looked over at you and, okay. This seed is so important.
Oh, yes.
So important.
Yes. Let me just put it in my pocket.
Let me put it in the pocket on the horse. Not on my person.
No, not in my boobs. Where
exactly. That's what I'm like. Okay, the one time where the cheesy, like, I'm just gonna put it in my boobs moment that I was like, yes, I would want that on my body.
You hide it with the goods or something. You know? Yeah.
So we'll jump in. Yeah, that was predictions. I was like,
we'll jump into predictions now.
There we go. I was gonna say, I'm like, that was part of it.
Your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Okay, you go for it.
Prediction.
I feel that the horse somehow, either the horse is going to get away,
okay,
or someone's going to take the bag.
Okay.
So they're gonna lose the seed. They'll get it back because they're still going to save the world, but it's going to get away at some point, and they'll have a moment of like, why didn't you keep that on you? So that's one thing. So that.
Okay.
I actually kind of, long-term predictions, I kind of actually don't want Will to hook up with Eretria. I want Will with Eretria because I feel they are a little more better matched. I feel
did anyone else hear this? I can't.
I feel Amberle and Will, it's not quite right, or at least Amberle is not allowed to do this now.
Okay. So you think after. You said the hookup after.
Yeah. So if they do hook up, they should hook up after. But I do feel they're not quite as well suited. I think Will and Eretria are a better couple, I guess. Or at least they're slightly more entertaining. Amberle needs... Okay. See, the thing is, Eretria is better than him. Like, bests him often. So Amberle needs somebody who can, like, best her a little bit.
Al-Anon.
Possible. Hey, she said it. Maybe. So anyway, my big prediction is going to be with the seed.
The seed.
That something's going to happen with that.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. That's actually a great point because I just don't.
Because they show it.
I don't believe that seed's going to be with her the whole time. Otherwise, it's too easy, you know? Even though, I mean, granted, this quest is by far not easy at all. But I do agree with you on that prediction. I think that would be very, very interesting. I definitely, given what we've seen, I think the Changeling will, best them one more time. And maybe, like, we'll lose someone a little bit important based
Do you think
he'll
leave, or it will leave the castle?
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, yeah. I think it'll leave the castle, and it'll probably leave the castle disguised as someone. Possibly, like, Ander, possibly the bad uncle.
Yep.
Like, I think there's something like that. And then this is a prediction way off, but I was getting all these vibes, like way off into the future, but I was getting all these vibes when it's like Eventide was like was saying like about him, Arion not being king, and about how losing his one of his sons, Ain, I think, Amberle's dad, he lost a king to the elven people, or they lost a king to the elven people. And then I'm looking at Amberle and I'm like, dude, I literally think this girl will end up being queen.
Sure. We're going to bypass the uncles and go to the grandchild.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think like everything's we're going to... I know it doesn't make any sense, but I really think she's what's going to save this. So I think she would be the only one who deserves it, even though nobody deserves a crown. But yeah.
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 Because I don't feel either they don't want to be the king or they're not suited to be king. So.
Yeah, I totally
Good
agree
prediction. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how much of this actually ends up being true in the next coming weeks. But so where can everybody find you?
Yes.
My lovely.
Oh, thank you. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane on Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook at Kari Lane Actor.
Awesome. And you can find me at MGCVSST on both Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to please comment on YouTube.
Yes, please do.
Rate us on iTunes. We absolutely love hearing how you guys feel about the show, how we're doing, what we missed, maybe something that you guys want us to talk about, or just...
Oh, yeah, if you noticed anything we didn't talk about.
Anything, get at us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you guys want. And don't forget to follow AFTERBUZZ TV. And then use the hashtag. We're using hashtag Shannara and Shannara Chronicles for the most part. So just get at us with that and make sure to tag us and whatever so we can get back to you guys. And also thank you because our last episode has over 7,000 views.
Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, we love all your comments. We read through them. We're like, oh, that's a really good point, or that's a really good question or observation. So we love it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. So please tune in next week, same time, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.